Imagine you worked for this for years. You studied for the citizenship test, you waited in line, you passed the interview, you raised your right hand, and you swore an oath. You became an American citizen. And now in 2026, you are sitting at home watching the news, and something inside you whispers, "Am I still safe? Could they really take this away from me? Could I lose my citizenship? Could my family be separated? Could I be deported?" If that whisper has ever crossed your mind, even for a second, then this video is for you. Stay right here, because what you're about to hear could be the most important information you receive this entire year. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are breaking down the 2026 Trump immigration rules. What has actually changed, what it means for naturalized American citizens specifically, and what you absolutely need to know to protect yourself and your family. This is not fear-mongering. This is not political commentary. This is a practical, honest, clear guide for every naturalized citizen who wants to understand the new landscape of immigration enforcement in America and navigate it with confidence. Let us start at the beginning, because to understand what is happening now, you need to understand what changed and why. When President Trump returned to office, one of the very first priorities of his administration was a dramatic overhaul of immigration policy. Executive orders were signed within the first days and weeks of the new term. The tone was set immediately. Stricter enforcement, broader definitions of who could be removed, faster processing of deportation cases, and a renewed focus not just on undocumented immigrants, but on the entire immigration system as a whole. And that last part, that is where many naturalized citizens started to get nervous. Because for the first time in recent memory, there is serious legal and political debate happening at the highest levels of American government about the concept of denaturalization. Denaturalization means revoking someone's citizenship after they have already been naturalized, and while this has historically been an extremely rare legal process used in very extreme cases, think war criminals and fraud on a massive scale, the current administration has signaled an interest in expanding its use. So let us talk about what denaturalization actually is, who it applies to, and whether you personally need to worry about it. Denaturalization is a federal legal process by which the government revokes a person's naturalized citizenship. It is governed by federal law and must go through the federal court system. It is not something that can happen overnight, and it is not something that can happen arbitrarily, at least not under the current legal framework. There are specific grounds on which denaturalization can occur. The first and most common ground is fraud or misrepresentation during the naturalization process. If someone lied on their naturalization application, for example, if they hid a criminal history, if they gave false information about their identity, if they concealed a prior deportation order, or if they misrepresented their affiliations, then the government has the legal basis to initiate denaturalization proceedings. The second ground is that the person was never actually eligible for citizenship in the first place, meaning there was an error or illegal act in the process itself. The third ground, which is the most controversial and which is being discussed more actively under the current administration, involves membership in certain organizations. Specifically, if someone was a member of a subversive organization, historically this has been interpreted to mean communist or anarchist groups. At the time of naturalization or within the following 5 years, this can be grounds for denaturalization. Now, here is the important part that every naturalized citizen needs to hear clearly. If you went through the naturalization process honestly, if you answered all questions truthfully, if you disclosed your full history, if you were genuinely eligible for citizenship, and you received it legitimately, then you have a very strong legal foundation. The bar for denaturalization is high. The government must prove its case in federal court. And while the current administration has increased resources and attention toward these cases, the legal standard has not changed. However, and this is a crucial however, the number of denaturalization cases being pursued has increased. The Department of Justice and U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services have both expanded their review of naturalization cases. They are using data, algorithms, and cross-referencing of records to identify potential cases of fraud or misrepresentation. If you have anything in your naturalization history that you are unsure about, now is the time to consult an immigration attorney. Not tomorrow, now. Let us move on to another major area that is directly affecting naturalized citizens in 2026, the issue of dual citizenship and foreign ties. The Trump administration has taken a notably harder stance on naturalized citizens who maintain strong ties to certain foreign countries. This is not a new concern in American history. Loyalty questions have come up throughout the 20th century, but the current political environment has given this issue new intensity. Specifically, countries that the United States government has designated as adversaries or countries of concern, including China, Iran, Russia, Cuba, Venezuela, and North Korea, are at the center of these discussions. If you are a naturalized American citizen who was born in one of these countries, or who has family members in these countries, or who travels frequently to these countries, you may face increased scrutiny. This does not mean you are doing anything wrong. It does not mean you will lose your citizenship, but it does mean that you should be aware of the environment and take certain practical precautions. One of the most important things you can do is to make sure that all of your international travel is documented and consistent. If you travel to a country of concern, be prepared to answer questions upon your return to the United States. Customs and Border Protection officers have broad authority to question anyone entering the United States, including American citizens. You cannot be denied re-entry as an American citizen, but you can be detained and questioned. Another precaution is to be thoughtful about your financial ties abroad. The U.S. government requires American citizens and residents to report foreign bank accounts and financial interests above certain thresholds. These requirements have not changed, but enforcement attention has increased. If you have foreign accounts that you have not been reporting, you are exposed to serious legal risk that has nothing to do with your immigration status but could complicate your life enormously. Now let us talk about one of the most emotionally charged aspects of the 2026 immigration landscape. What is happening to the families of naturalized citizens? The Trump administration in 2026 has made significant changes to family-based immigration, which is the pathway through which American citizens can sponsor family members to come to the United States. The administration has proposed, and in some cases implemented, measures to reduce family-based immigration, prioritizing what they call merit-based immigration instead. What does this mean in practice? It means longer waiting times for family sponsorship applications. It means additional scrutiny for family member visa applications, and it means that in some cases, pathways that were previously available are being narrowed or challenged. If you are a naturalized citizen who has filed or is planning to file a petition for a family member, a spouse, a child, a parent, a sibling, you need to be prepared for a longer and more complex process than it would have been just a few years ago. This is not impossible. American citizens still have the strongest sponsorship rights of anyone in the immigration system. But the environment is harder, and you should work with a qualified immigration attorney to make sure your petitions are airtight. One specific area of change that has caused confusion and anxiety is the administration's approach to birthright citizenship. Earlier in the current term, President Trump signed an executive order seeking to limit birthright citizenship for children born in the United States to parents who are not citizens or lawful permanent residents. This was immediately challenged in federal courts, and at the time of this video, the legal battles are ongoing. The 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants citizenship to all persons born in the United States, and overriding this through executive order is constitutionally contested territory. If you are a naturalized citizen with children who were born in the United States, their citizenship status is almost certainly secure. The constitutional protection is strong, and courts have consistently upheld birthright citizenship. But if you have children born abroad, or if your situation involves complex immigration statuses, you should verify their citizenship status with a legal professional. Let us now talk about something that many naturalized citizens find confusing and even frightening: the expanded enforcement actions that are happening across the country in 2026. ICE Immigration and Customs Enforcement has dramatically expanded its operations. Interior enforcement, which means enforcement inside the United States rather than just at the border, has increased significantly. ICE agents are conducting operations in more places than before, including in so-called sanctuary cities that previously limited cooperation with federal immigration authorities. Here is what you need to know as a naturalized citizen. You have rights. You have the right to remain silent if approached by law enforcement. You have the right to refuse to consent to a search of your home without a warrant. You have the right to an attorney. These rights apply to American citizens, and as a naturalized citizen, you are a full American citizen with every right that any other citizen has. However, and this is important, there have been reports and documented cases of American citizens, including naturalized citizens, being detained by ICE due to errors, mistaken identity, or administrative confusion. These are not isolated incidents. They are a real risk. In an environment of aggressive enforcement, the best protection you have is documentation. Carry your naturalization certificate or your U.S. passport with you whenever possible. If you are detained, immediately invoke your right to remain silent and your right to an attorney. Do not sign any documents you do not understand. Contact an attorney as quickly as possible, and make sure that trusted people in your life know your immigration attorney's contact information in case of an emergency. We want to say this clearly. Being detained does not mean you will lose your citizenship, but it can be a traumatic and disruptive experience, and the best defense is preparation. Let us also talk about green card holders and people who are on the path to citizenship, because many of you watching this video are either green card holders yourselves or you have family members who are, and the rules affecting them have also changed significantly in 2026. Lawful permanent residents, green card holders, have faced increased scrutiny under the current administration. There have been cases of long-term green card holders being placed in removal proceedings for offenses that previously would not have resulted in deportation. Criminal records, even minor ones from years or decades ago, are being reviewed more aggressively. In some cases, green card holders have been detained and deported for offenses that they committed before becoming permanent residents. If you are a green card holder or if you have a family member who is, this is a critical moment to review your record with an immigration attorney. The connection between criminal history and immigration consequences is complex, and what might seem like a minor issue could have serious implications in the current environment. And if you are a green card holder who has been considering applying for citizenship, now may be an especially important time to do so. Naturalized citizens have more legal protections than permanent residents in almost every respect. The path to citizenship has more scrutiny than before, but the protections that come with it are stronger and more reliable. Now let us spend a moment talking about the emotional reality of all of this, because behind every policy change, behind every legal development, behind every executive order, there are human beings, there are families, there are people who came to this country with nothing, who worked incredibly hard, who built a life, who contributed to their communities, who loved this country, and who are now living with uncertainty and anxiety about their future. If that is you, we want you to hear this. You are not alone. Millions of naturalized Americans are navigating exactly the same feelings right now. The anxiety is real, and it is valid, but fear, while understandable, is not a strategy. Knowledge is a strategy. Preparation is a strategy. Community is a strategy. Connect with your local immigrant advocacy organizations. Connect with other naturalized citizens in your community. Find a trustworthy immigration attorney and build a relationship before you need one in a crisis. Know your rights, document everything, and stay informed, because this landscape is changing, and the more you know, the more power you have. Let us close with a summary of the most practical steps you can take right now to protect yourself and your family in the 2026 immigration environment. First, review your naturalization documents. Make sure you have physical copies of your naturalization certificate and your U.S. passport stored safely. If your naturalization certificate is lost or damaged, apply for a replacement immediately. Second, know your rights. You have the right to remain silent, the right to an attorney, and the right to be treated as a full American citizen. Do not let fear cause you to waive these rights. Third, Consult an immigration attorney if you have any unresolved questions about your immigration history, your family member's status, your criminal record, or your foreign ties. A 1-hour consultation could save you years of legal trouble. Fourth, make sure all your tax and financial reporting is up to date, including any foreign bank account reporting requirements. The government is looking for inconsistencies, and financial irregularities can complicate your legal standing even when they are unrelated to immigration. Fifth, stay informed. The legal landscape in 2026 is moving fast. Court decisions, executive orders, and legislative changes are happening regularly. Follow reliable news sources, follow channels like this one, and make sure you are getting accurate information rather than rumor and panic. Sixth, talk to your family. Make sure your spouse, your children, your parents, whoever depends on you knows what your rights are, knows where your documents are, and knows who to call if something happens. Have a plan, because having a plan is not a sign of fear. It is a sign of wisdom. The America that you swore an oath to is a country built on laws. Those laws protect you, and knowing those laws is the single most powerful thing you can do in this moment. We hope this video gave you clarity. We hope it gave you confidence, and we hope it reminded you that your citizenship is real, your rights are real, and your place in this country is worth fighting for. If this video was helpful to you, please give it a like. It helps more people find this important information when they need it most. Share it with a friend, a family member, or anyone in your community who might be navigating these same questions. And subscribe to this channel so you never miss an update, because we will continue to bring you accurate, clear, and honest information about everything that matters to you and your family. This is about your life, your future, your family, and you deserve to face it with full knowledge and full confidence. We will see you in the next video. Stay strong, stay informed, and stay protected.